Goodbye, Georgia Tech. The Yellow Jackets rolled into Provo for homecoming and went back home stung and defeated.
Game changers. The Cougars have some special weapons returning kicks this season. Find out how they prepare to take it to the house.
And on the road again, it's a Cougars versus Cougars showdown this weekend, and we're breaking down how BYU will leave the Lone Star State with a victory. I'm Jake Edmonds.
And I'm Mary Blanchard. Get ready to hit the road. It's time for the Tube.
Great game this weekend. Were you able to watch it?
Yeah, I did see it. It was really fun to watch our offense and defense put on a show, so that was awesome.
I was there. The crowd was rocking. Let's get you to that action now. Georgia Tech came into Provo on Saturday looking to sting the Cougars, but the boys in blue had other plans in mind. It was all offense early on as Taysom Hill, with plenty of time in the pocket, finds Cody Hoffman for the ridiculous grab. Let's take another look as Hoffman makes the catch over his shoulder with a Georgia Tech defender pulling his jersey from behind. Hashtag beast mode. Later in the quarter, Jamal Williams with his first TD on the season right here. And then Taysom Hill is like, I'll see your goal line dive and raise you another, running into the end zone for the 7th time this season. But you can't go to a BYU game nowadays and not expect some defense. Kyle Van Noy making his presence felt early and often on this one, dropping Vad Lee in the first quarter. And for the 2nd time this season, the Cougar defense picks up 4 sacks in a game. But let's not forget the turnovers. This one by Alani Fua late to seal the win as the Cougars swat the Yellow Jackets down 38-20. BYU had more yards and first downs, but look at the time of possession. It's the 3rd game in a row where the Cougars have had less time of possession than their opponent, but they're 3-0 in those games. Get that.
The Cougars continued their reign of terror against option-based teams, but it was more than just their run defense that got the job done. Let's break down what made the Cougar pass D so successful. Georgia Tech with 3 wide, a lot like what BYU will see tomorrow against Houston on this play. It's all about Kyle Van Noy. Van Noy's presence changes Vad Lee's eye level and has him looking over his shoulder from the get-go. In other words, KVN makes the quarterback look at him instead of downfield at the receivers. Both Van Noy and Spencer Hadley beat their blockers, and it's easy from there. You can avoid one rusher, but not both, and Hadley cleans up with the sack. That kind of pass rush leads directly to plays like this. Georgia Tech is worried about the blitz, so they keep 7 in to block only 4 rushers. Marcus Johnson draws 3 blockers and allows the linebackers to roam free. Again, Vad Lee's eye level is down at the line of scrimmage, and he never even sees Alani Fua. It's clear the quarterback thought his man was open, but the threat of the BYU pass rush leads to a poor decision. Fua takes advantage and takes it all the way to the house.
And Kyle Van Noy might have to get an award for, well, getting so many awards. The senior linebacker added a few more to his resume this week. Van Noy looks to be on his way to winning first-team All-American honors as he made the midseason cut with Phil Still's midseason All-American first team. Van Noy's All-America resume looks good through the first 6 games, including an interception for a touchdown, a 4 safety, 10 tackles for a loss, and 10 QB hurries for 4 sacks. But KVN isn't the only Cougar getting some national attention. Phil Still also named Van Noy and 5 other BYU players to the first-team All-Independent list on Tuesday. The list includes 6 first-team selections like Daniel Sorensen, safety Daniel Sorensen, and quarterback Taysom Hill, who beat out Notre Dame signal caller Tommy Reese. Jamal Williams joins Army's Terry Baggett in the first-team backfield, while J.D. Falslev and Adam Hine highlight the special teams.
This year, BYU football has had an advantage that comes in handy every game: kickoff return. CoogTube reporter Skylar Hardman spent the week figuring out how the return team became the 10th best in the country. Skylar, what are the keys to their success?
Well, obviously, you got to have good runners back there taking the ball. But on top of that, they found that the first step in building a strong, successful kickoff return unit is pretty simple. Load special teams with talented guys.
We have our best guys out there. We don't have just anybody. We're recruiting people to come out and play on the kickoff return team.
Once the team is stacked, coaches work with players to make sure everyone is part of the action.
Obviously, you can't do it without the blocking up front, so we've done really good in that area.
The goal line, looks for a lane. Here's his lane.
If everyone is blocked, the primary returner, usually Adam Hine, tucks the ball in and aimed to BYU to do run.
We have a couple different returns, and depending on that return, I'll be following my off blocker and just looking for seams to go deep.
For lead blocker Paul Asike, the only way he knows Hine is still at it is crowd noise.
You can hear the crowd just screaming, and so I'm like, oh, that's a good sign. He's still on his feet, and then you're just trying to go out there and make a play, you know?
The entire stadium recognizes how important a big return can be.
There's no bigger game changer, in my opinion, than a kickoff or punt return.
Hine is the third best kick returner in all of FBS, averaging 32.7 yards per attempt. But he still has one thing left to accomplish.
The best thing about it is we have so many games left in the season that we can still bring them to the house. So we're excited about that.
Hine did carry one return all the way back to the house, but it was waved off for a penalty. Actually, Mary, you might remember that one came against Utah.
Yeah, I do remember, although I wish I could forget. That was a heartbreaker.
It really hurt.
Is there anything that Hine struggles with on kickoff return?
Well, I don't know if you'd say this is a struggle, but Hine gets a hard time on the team because he was brought down by a kicker once this season. Anytime you get tripped up by the lowly kicker, you know, you're going to get a little bit of hazing.
It's a little embarrassing, so.
Well, there's a first for everything. And speaking of firsts, BYU is headed to Texas to take on the Houston Cougars for the first time in program history. Let's take a look at the upcoming catfight. Houston comes into the game with an unblemished record, winning their first 5 games of the season. But don't let that fool you. The Red Cougars have played just one team with a winning record. Can anyone say cupcake? Cupcake. With that in mind, Houston has one of the top passing attacks in the nation, averaging almost 300 yards per game through the air. Freshman quarterback John O'Corn has 11 touchdowns and just 1 interception all season. Broncos Cougs will need to pin their ears back and apply plenty of pressure to rattle the young gunslinger. On the other end, Houston's ground attack isn't exactly intimidating, but it gets the job done. The Cougars' top rusher, Ryan Jackson, has almost 400 yards and 4 TDs on the season, averaging over 5 yards per carry. And on the defensive end, the Cougs from Texas lead the nation with a turnover margin of plus 14. Look for BYU to emphasize ball security in their go fast, go hard system. Here's a look at the numbers. On top of their stellar turnover margin, Houston ranks in the top 25 in points scored and points allowed, and 26th in yards per game. Now the team is flying out to Houston today, and CoogTube reporter Kyle Ireland tells us what the road is looking like for the Cougars. Kyle, how's the scene at the stadium today with the team leaving town?
Yeah, guys, the gates here at LaVell Edwards Stadium are locked this week, and unless you have a plane ticket to Texas, you'll be watching the game at home. Halfway through the season, and the Cougars hit the road this weekend for a shootout with Houston. And getting on the airplane is a shakeup from the hometown bus ride through Provo. Coach Bronco Mendenhall says the trip to Houston is something the team is excited to go on.
I think it's a nice break and some diversity, and a lot of times it increases focus. So I think our guys are kind of looking forward to getting on the road.
With wins in each of the last 3 games, the team is showing more confidence in the offense, and they've taken advantage of playing in front of friendly crowds. But BYU players like quarterback Taysom Hill are up for the challenge that comes with a change of scenery.
It's a fun atmosphere that you can go play on the road, but with that being said, I love our stadium. I love playing at home, so it's good to mix it in, and it's an atmosphere that I look forward to.
BYU will be playing on a big stage in Texas for the second time in 4 years. In 2009, BYU beat number 3 ranked Oklahoma in the home of the Dallas Cowboys. Nearly this time tomorrow, the Red and Blue Cougars will have a showdown in the Houston Texans' Reliant Stadium.
That'll be a fun atmosphere. I'm excited to be in the stadium and get a feel for that.
We have a chance to play on the biggest stages and more flexibility than what we've had before. So anytime we have a chance to play in a unique venue, I like it.
This week's game will be a special test for BYU, as their only other out-of-state game this season resulted in a loss at Virginia. At LaVell Edwards Stadium, Kyle Ireland, CoogTube.
Thanks, Kyle.
Hopefully we do better away in Houston than we did against Virginia.
I hope so. We'll see.
When CoogTube returns, boom goes the shakalaka. The men's basketball team is ready to ignite the crowd at the Smith Fieldhouse tonight with an all-star opening to the new season.
And missionary comeback. Slow and steady wins the race, but with these athletes, it's a different story. What it means to get back into the game after serving a mission. Don't touch that dial.
With basketball season heating up, the Cougars are looking forward to a night on the hardwood. CoogTube reporter Alan Miller is at the Smith Fieldhouse, where Boom Shakalaka is set for tonight. Alan, what's going on?
Yeah, right now things at the Smith Fieldhouse are pretty calm, but when the ball gets rolling tonight, fans will be waiting to hear the boom.
Boom shakalaka!
That's what fans will hear every time they see a monster dunk. The term comes from the 90s video game NBA Jam, and organizers say it's the inspiration for the event's name.
When the big dunk happens, the announcer says, boom shakalaka, something like that. So we it kind of started as a joke, actually. Someone threw that idea out there, and then it just kind of stuck.
Tyler Haas will be competing tonight and remembers playing NBA Jam as a kid.
There was one week during a school year where my brother and I both had pink eye, and so we couldn't go to school, and so we just played NBA Jam for a whole week straight.
Players selected for tonight's lineup will compete in a three-point shootout, skills competition, and of course, a dunk contest. Freshman standout Eric Mika won a dunk competition in Florida last year, so he wasn't surprised to get the pick.
I mean, I kind of figured when they said exactly what it was and that there was a dunk contest, I figured I'd be in it because there aren't a lot of guys on the team that can do anything cool, no offense to them, but...
According to NCAA regulations, players can't receive money prizes, so Chilton says they came up with another incentive.
We did come up with a little trophy, no value there, but just kind of a fun trophy that they can have, kind of bragging rights.
Regardless of the results, Mika says he expects to hear one thing.
Boom shakalaka!
Fans who attend tonight's event will get more than just a show, including free swag from the basketball team and a live performance from recording artist Can't Stop, Won't Stop. In front of the Smith Fieldhouse, Alan Miller, CoogTube.
Sounds like fun. Thanks, Alan.
Each year, dozens of football and basketball players put their athletic careers on hold. CoogTube reporter Zach Brady tells us how they get back into shape. Zach, what goes into getting these athletes game ready?
It's definitely not easy. I mean, we're talking about some of the best athletes in the country, and while their LDS missions are a great experience, it takes a lot of time, hard work, and patience to get themselves back in top shape.
With so many players coming and going on missions for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, it's amazing that the BYU football and men's basketball squads are consistent with winning over the past decade.
Between now and next fall, we have 31 coming home. Well, that's about a quarter of your team.
It's not easy to get back in shape after 2 years without training, and for most athletes, patience isn't a strong point.
But just be more careful and stretching more, doing a little more extra on the side to stretch and to be ready to play and not just jumping into things.
Kyle Collinsworth returned home from his mission to Russia this summer, and while he's played a lot of basketball, he's kind of taken a different approach to getting himself and his body ready for the upcoming season.
I've actually been doing a lot of different things, a lot of swimming, a lot of working out in sand, and I go to yoga 2 to 3 times a week.
Coach Rose expects Collinsworth to contribute right away, but said fans shouldn't expect him to be like Tyler Haas, who averaged 21 points and 4 rebounds his first season home.
That it'll be a challenge for Kyle because the expectation will be for him to be like the most abnormal probably ever.
Collinsworth says he is excited to get on the court and thinks this team has a chance to compete in the West Coast Conference.
You'll have your first opportunity to check out Collinsworth and the men's basketball team next Saturday as they take on Colorado College in the Marriott Center at 7 p.m. Live in the newsroom, Zach Brady, CoogTube.
Should be fun. So, Zach, what happens if an athlete gets back and starts playing too soon?
Well, definitely the risk of injury is a lot greater. Mitch Matthews actually tore his groin his first month home. So hopefully Kyle Collinsworth can avoid having a serious injury like that with the season coming up.
We'll cross our fingers. Thanks, Zach. I hope that Kyle can actually play as well as Tyler Haas did when he got back from his mission.
Yeah, I don't expect it, but I hope he can.
Yep.
When CoogTube returns, bust out the brooms. The BYU women's volleyball team is cleaning up the court. With 2 more sweeps this week, their streak just keeps on growing.
And high honors. BYU legend Jim McMahon already earned a place in our hearts, but now he also has a home in the Utah Sports Hall of Fame. We'll be right back. BYU's women's volleyball team is keeping calm and streaking on. And with 2 games in the past week, they've only gotten better. The first game was at home against the University of San Francisco. The Dons started strong and kept the pace, with the Lady Cougars tying 17 times in the first set. But BYU wasn't having any of it and spiked past them to win the set. The next 2 were a walk in the park for the Lady Cougs, and they swept the Dons 3-0. They then came on strong against the Portland Pilots, sweeping them for another notch in the belt. The team is leading the WCC with a perfect 8-0 record. Next in line are both San Diego and St. Mary's with records of 6-2, and Pacific, Gonzaga, and San Francisco fill the middle at 4-4.
BYU's Lady Kickers were a couple goals short of a win at Santa Clara last week, but jumped back on the winning wave last night against Pepperdine. This was a great game for fans of defense, especially fans of BYU defense. The Cougars held the Waves to just 5 shots in the first half and only 1 in the second. The Cougars had a huge advantage on shots, taking 22 to their 6th. Pepperdine's goalie Hannah Siebert did her best to fight off the Cougar barrage with 9 saves on the night, but she misses one here in the 83rd minute as Nikki Fernandez sneaks one into the net to give the Cougars another dramatic 1-0 victory. Their next matchup is at home Saturday against Loyola Marymount. BYU Athletics is asking fans to wear pink to show their support for breast cancer awareness.
The BYU men's and women's swimming teams made a splash at the Intermountain Shootout in Colorado, winning nearly every event. They also won their dual meets against Colorado Mesa, Colorado State, and Air Force. The Cougs took first in over 10 different events and even swept the women's 400 and 100 free. The swimmers next hit the pool October 26th here at the Richards Building against Colorado Mesa. And don't forget about tennis. The men's team did work at the first day of the Mountain Region Championships in Las Vegas on Wednesday. Every doubles team notched victories, and number 6 seed Francis Sargent and number 21 seed Andrei Gorochkov also advanced to the 3rd round of singles play. The championships continue through Saturday. Tennis is kind of fun to watch. I like watching it, especially indoors, outdoors. It's just fun to watch.
Yeah,
tennis.
both, and we're doing well, so that's good to see.
Yep, and when CoogTube comes back, forever in fame, heroes are remembered, but BYU legends never die. And Jim McMahon's legacy is now eternally etched in Utah Sports Hall of Fame.
And I hope you like sunshine. Your 11 game time weather when we return.
We're in the thick of football and volleyball season. The Cougar teams are succeeding on the playing field, and both programs now have more alums that will live on forever in the hearts of sports fans here in Utah. CoogTube reporter Dave Neely has the story.
I headed up to the Utah Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony this week and caught up with the punky QB and one of the greatest volleyball players in BYU history.
Jim McMahon, who broke all sorts of passing records, but he's a very confident young man.
That confidence turned a skinny kid from Roy into an All-American and one of the most popular athletes in the NFL. The guy that BYU fans remember for leading the Cougs to victory in the Miracle Bowl is now a Hall of Famer.
Number 9, forever. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim McMahon.
McMahon joins former QB great Gifford Nielsen in the Hall. The two played together at BYU, but did not fight for the starting job.
He was our punter.
McMahon eventually got his turn behind center and made the most of it.
We were very successful, and I was part of the first 2 bowl wins at BYU, so that's another proud memory.
And all these years later, he's still having fun and still pleasing fans. What do you think of his jacket tonight?
That jacket is totally awesome.
Joining Jimmy Mack in this year's class of 5 is former volleyball standout Michelle Fellows-Lewis. She's the wife of BYU great Chad Lewis, who was immortalized in the Hall last year.
Something else not to be the best athlete in my own house.
Lewis led the Cougars to their first ever Final Four appearance in 1993, a memory she will always treasure.
The feeling of jubilation and excitement in that locker room afterwards was like no other, and I loved that experience.
Jim McMahon and Michelle Fellows-Lewis, Hall of Famers. In Salt Lake City, Dave Neely, CoogTube. Even though it was their night, both McMahon and Lewis answered questions about the current BYU squads. McMahon spoke highly of Taysom Hill, and Lewis told me with excitement that she feels that this BYU volleyball team can win the national championship.
It is a sunshiny day. It is beautiful outside. This is BYU campus, and that sun is shining nice and bright. Currently, right now, it's about 43 degrees outside, and it will start to heat up. It is about 61% humidity. We have a small breeze, and the humidity will just continue to drop as we go throughout our day. What you can expect for tonight, though, is that it will be a little bit cooler. We're looking at about 35 degrees, and also we'll have clear skies. Sunset will be 6:40, and with those clear skies, look for the moon because tomorrow it's a full moon. Our highs around the state are looking average and normal. Everywhere is looking about the same. We're looking about mid to upper 50s. Here in Provo, we're at 58. Cedar City, they're also at 58, and that St. George is holding on to warm weather. I love St. George. I'm so happy for them. They're at 78 degrees. Their 5-day forecast is looking very nice. Look at that. Sun all around, and 70s, upper 70s. That's great for them. Their lows are only in the 40s. That's not too bad. Good news for us in our northern Utah County 5-day forecast. We are looking at the same type of weather. We're also going to be getting suns. Right here, suns all around. I'm so happy about this. I could take this fall weather anytime. So we'll have our lows in the 40s, and that shouldn't be too bad to deal with. So good weather up in the future.
Thanks, Eliza. That's good to hear. Now it's time for predicts. Let's welcome everybody to the rectangle. We all had the same picks last week, so we all came out 1-1. Eliza still is in the lead, but she's no longer undefeated. She has 5 out of 6. Jake's at 4-6, and me and the reporters are close in third. We split the picks in half at 3-3. Today we'll be picking BYU Houston in the big ACC showdown between Florida State and Clemson. Jake, let's start with you.
Yeah, I'm actually 4-2. I haven't predicted 10 games. But for this week, I shouldn't have picked Utah last week. I don't know why I did. This week I'm actually going to pick BYU over Houston. And then I have Clemson at home beating Florida State.
I'm going to agree with Jake. I'm going to take the Cougars in blue. BYU is going to go into Houston, get a big road win. And I think Clemson at home in Death Valley just overpowers Florida State.
Okay, Eliza.
Well, I think the Cougars are going to win. Just kidding. I think the blue Cougars are going to win. I'm going with BYU. And then also I'm going with the Tigers in the home field.
Okay, as for me, I'm sticking with you guys. I'm picking BYU, the blue Cougars. And I'm actually going to pick Florida State. So that one I'm differing on you. I believe in Jameis, famous Jameis.
Florida State has a shot. I just think Taj Boyd and Sammy Watkins have just too much firepower, and then they're at home. So the Tigers at home at Memorial Stadium, too much firepower. I'm honestly just sad that we don't have any happy trees this week to vote.
Dancing trees, Jake. Get it right.
Yeah, no, those Tigers are coming back for vengeance, though, for sure.
Clemson has one of the best traditions in sports with Howard's Rock, one of their old coaches. He stole the rock from Death Valley, and the players rub it. And I think that magic from Howard's Rock, Clemson's just going to kind of...
It's not magic. Florida State's going to keep their cool. You guys will see, and I'm going to catch up with you guys in your records. I'm making a comeback.
What about BYU, though? On a roll right now, heading into Houston. Houston 5-0, but they don't have enough firepower. They look good on offense, but they've played against, like I said, cupcake teams that really can't really compare to BYU. So I think BYU goes in with their defense is going to hold Houston to well under their average on the offensive end.
I think it'll be really fun to watch. I think BYU is probably just going to put on a show, so I'm excited about that.
And I think Houston having a true freshman quarterback, Kyle Van Noy, Alane Fua, Spencer Hadley now back, be able to play mind games with him, kind of do whatever they want, confuse him, get some turnovers. I think he'll have a hard time against one of the top defenses in the country.
Yeah, now our defense I think we'll be able to put on a good show this weekend. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, should be interesting.
Well, that's CoogTube for Friday, October 18th.
If you want another look at the stories to share with your friends, check out the CoogTube section of our website, 11news.byu.edu.
Thanks for joining us. Have a great afternoon, and go Cougs.